What's up, Packer fans? Mark here from the Packer Fan Network, and this is an exciting time of year as the draft is now underway. Ted Thompson didn't really surprise anybody when he traded away his first pick. Packers gained the first pick of the second round and a fourth round pick, and it really wasn't a surprise. We traded down 4 spots, and now there's still so much talent left on the board that, it's even possible he could trade down again coming into this next round starting tomorrow. And here to discuss this with me is my brother John. John, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Mark. And hello, Packer fans everywhere.
All right. And as I already mentioned, traded down for a later round pick. We're on the board right now for the second round here. And, who do you like that's left out there right now?
There's a lot of players to like that are left on the board right now. And so you got to kind of put yourself into Ted's mind. And to be honest with you, the move that you got to think that he wants is to move down again. If he can acquire more picks, only move down a few spots, still get somebody that he likes, because if it's a corner that he likes, there are so many good corners left on the board. You got Quincy Wilson, who some people thought was maybe the second or third best corner. Some thought he was the best, but it's hard to argue against Marshawn Lattimore. But you've got him from Florida, a long, rangy corner who could definitely develop into a number one guy, and that's got to be where his mindset is finding a number one guy. But you've got other guys like Fabian Moreau from UCLA, who's a solid corner. You got Kevin King from Washington, who's another long guy, ball hawk type. And then you've got the Colorado guy who's a real athlete, Chidobe Awanzi, and the safety who could turn into a corner from UConn, Obi Melifonwu. That guy's a big, fast. He's 6'4", 225, and still ran like a 4.4 340. That's a guy. I don't care how you line up. I want you on my team.
Right.
But I think a lot of people would agree that that's probably our number one need. But then you've got an interesting situation where a guy who some people had as the number one running back ended up dropping out of the first round, whether it's because of off the field concerns or a bit of an injury history. Dalvin Cook from Florida State is still out there, and if Ted Thompson believes that he's special, if Ted had him as the number one running back, or if he had him being long gone by now, you got to wonder if he's chomping at the bit to take him here with the first pick in the second round.
Yeah. Now, I agree that would be a smart move. Me, though, coming from a situation where, I like where the offense is at right now. I like Ty Montgomery. I think there's a lot of options available with Ty Montgomery, especially being a receiver out of the backfield, because nobody would be expecting you to take a receiver out of the backfield and run a deep route, but Ty Montgomery is a guy with hands to do it. They also re-signed Christine Michael this year, which kind of surprised me with how little they used him. Surprised me on both sides, that Christine Michael would even want to come back to a team where he didn't really get on the field at all. But you see the more holes on the defensive side, and that's why to me, I wouldn't want to see him take a running back. But at the same time, if he does, I know he's doing that because that's the best guy available right now. But
it would have to be a situation where Ted Thompson really believed, like I said, that Dalvin Cook was special.
Right.
Like he was he was going to add a dimension that would take care of more than what a defensive guy could have, who's in a solid position. There are other running backs too later that you could get that maybe he likes. You've got James Conner from Penn State, who you could probably pick up in the 4th round or maybe even later. You've got Samarji Perine, who's from Oklahoma. He got a lot of carries when Joe Mixon was out for his suspension, and still was sometimes the lead back even when Mixon was there. He's actually the current NCAA leader in rushing yards for a single game. He's the one that took Melvin Gordon out of the record books the week after he said it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's Alvin Kamara, who they could probably get with their second round pick at 29 if they wanted to go that direction. Other places that we could possibly look would be outside linebacker. I know a lot of Packer fans and Badger fans are going to be upset that Pittsburgh took J.J. Watt,
Yeah.
or T.J. Watt, sorry, J.J.'s little brother. But as we were talking during the draft, I have a feeling Ted Thompson felt relieved when T.J. came off the board, because he no longer had pressure on him to make the fans happy by taking him.
Right. Right. But for me, I'm happy with what Ted Thompson has done this year. He's really looked uncharacteristic in picking up more guys in free agency than you normally expect to see. He really shored up our offense, and that's the main reason why I would be happier seeing him pick up a defensive guy early. You mentioned the running backs that'll be available later in the draft. So I'd like to see him use the earlier picks that he's got on a defensive guys to shore up our secondary. And, especially I'm excited this year to see, with the 2 tight ends that he picked up, and now picking up Jari Evans to fill the hole that TJ Lang left, and I really like TJ Lang. I was sad to see him go, but at that point, obviously TJ Lang was already signed somewhere else. He wasn't coming back. You need a Jari Evans to come in and fill that hole, so you don't have to waste an early pick on a guard. What I look for at this point is I'm excited to see the type of plays that McCarthy's going to draw up with the 2 tight end formations, and how they're going to attack defenses with the Ty Montgomery coming out of the backfield, and that's why I would more think pick up defense this early in the draft.
You mentioned that Ted filled the holes on offense, and I could make the argument that Ted feels like he filled the holes on defense as well. He did pick up Devon House, who used to play for the Packers and played really well for a couple of seasons before he went to Jacksonville and signed a big contract there and ended up underperforming. Well, they ran a lot different defense than we do in Green Bay. They more of a zone, had him with more of a zone responsibility, where he was used for press coverage in Green Bay, and he'll be getting back to that when he comes. So that could be a situation where that, along with development from Rollins and Randall and Gunther, corner might not be as glaring of a need as at least in Ted Thompson's mind,
Right.
as what the rest of us feel. Because I can confidently say that I, as a Packer fan, am nervous about our corners.
Right.
But he might not be. He picked up House. He re-signed Nick Perry. and he also picked up Ricky Jean-Francois. So he might feel like he shored up all the holes everywhere on both sides of the ball, and that he can pick the best player available whenever he gets that chance. Whether he feels like it's Quincy Wilson, or if he feels like it's Dalvin Cook, or Cunningham, the linebacker from Vanderbilt, Zach Cunningham, who's kind of a boomer bust guy. He could be athletically, he's an outstanding athlete, but he hasn't shown enough necessarily on the field. Maybe that's who he's got his eye on. Maybe he's got his eye on another outside linebacker like Tyus Bowser from Houston. But he might feel like he's in a position where he already shored up all our direct needs and can just pick up the best player available.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I can see your point there. You know, maybe to us as fans, we saw what happened last year in the secondary. You know, partly though, what I like to point out in that situation is we had two young cornerbacks. You know, Sam Shield was out the whole season again. We had two young cornerbacks who kept getting hurt, and then they'd come back, and what can you really expect out of a guy who's just back off an injury, probably back early because you needed him to be back?
And that's something that I think a lot of people forget too, is that both Rollins and Randall were basically injured the entire year, and
Right.
just playing through it on occasion.
Right.
The only defensive back that really stayed healthy, or the only corner, I should say, that actually stayed healthy, was Ladarius Gunther. And we're talking about an undrafted free agent the year before. You know, not a seasoned guy, you know, and he actually held up okay at times. He just isn't athletically what you want out of a number one or number two corner, you know. Yeah, I'm fine with that guy as my fifth or sixth. I'm not comfortable with that guy as my one or two.
Right. Right. Well, what do you guys think out there? Do you think that Ted Thompson has filled the holes on the Packers team? Do you think Ted Thompson thinks he filled the holes on the Packers team? Go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more. Share this with all of your friends. John, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
And hopefully we'll have you on again this weekend for some more draft coverage.
Look forward to it.
All right. And for the Packer Fan Network, I am Mark Schneider.